Is this your first time going to Washington, D.C.?
No, I went last year for the spelling bee, and I'm doing the same thing as last year, where I go a bit ahead of time to hang out in Washington D.C. and see a bunch of the monuments.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Being that this will be, is this going to be your second time going? Or have you
Yes.
done any? Okay. So being that you've already been there once, and, are you going to pretty much go to the same places, or are you going to kind of just hit new
Yeah,
spots?
I'm gonna go to the same a lot of the ones I really like the Spy Museum and the Newseum. Although I'd like to see more of the stuff I didn't do.
And what would that be?
Um, I kind of want to see more of the National Mall, since some of it was closed last year. I want to go up the Washington Monument, since that's reopened, and kind of just that general area and a lot of the Smithsonian museums.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Who gets to go with you?
Last year we took my whole family, and this year we're taking my whole family again. And then a couple of my cousins and aunts wanted to go with us, so we're taking them too.
Oh, wow. So how many days ahead of time are you guys going to be there?
We're gonna be in Washington D.C. for 2 days, and then once you actually get to where the spelling bee is, they give you 2 days to kind of be there and kind of get the layout of stuff, and to hang out with the other spellers. Like they've organized a Memorial Day barbecue for you, and then so 2 days after that, then the actual spelling starts.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. The second question that they have: how do you, when it comes to spelling, how do you study for it?
Usually I kind of have a couple tricks. I'll either just spell like with my mom, just kind of saying the words and I'll spell them, or I'll just like bring a list with me and just kind of just read them off that and try to get them. Although I definitely like having someone spell it to me, because that way I have a sense of if I got it wrong or not, instead of just reading it.
Oh, wow. I excuse me. Having seen these spelling bees, I understand that at times people ask where the origin of the word came from and all of that. Is that something that you end up doing? Like when you do you go through a dictionary when you pick up words and stuff like
Wait, what do you mean? Like,
that? When it comes to spelling a word, you not only have to learn how to spell it, but know what the origins of it are, and at what point do you go to the extent of thank you, of asking where is it from and all that?
I kind of have like a routine that I go through. So usually on every word, I'll ask where it's from and definition. And it helps a lot, I think, because if you know where it's from, there are a lot of kind of tips that language like usually uses a certain letter, like a certain combination of letters. So I'll always ask for that. And then I'll also the definition really helps, because sometimes you can take parts of the definition that like you think that certain words kind of break down into that, and that has like a kind of thing that might steer you this way instead of that way, and might help you get it right. So
So that's part of the learning process of a word.
yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. Have you always liked spelling?
Yeah, from an early age, I was homeschooled, and as part of the homeschool program, we did some spelling bees, and that's kind of how I got into it. And you know, he had like candy incentives for like how many rounds you got by, so I kind of started like, and then that was fun. And then as I got older, there was like a school spelling bee, and I've been winning like the second grade school spelling bee, which didn't mean anything, but and I liked those. So then when I got to fifth grade, where we actually like go to the county, I did it and I won it. Although I didn't get very far in county, and then it kind of intrigued me that like it's a kind of like a sport. I'm not really sure, but if that's the right word. But like a activity where you can't control like whether other people like what other people do. Like in other sports, you can like take the ball away from someone, but in this it's just like completely up to you. And I really like that kind of aspect of it.
It intellectually through the mind it puts you against other people.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. Had you ever thought of it like that?
Not like to that extent, but a bit.
Really? When you are in, when are you and your family leaving to Washington?
I'm leaving tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and because of the regional track meet, my sister and my dad are leaving tomorrow, or no, Saturday in the morning about 10 o'clock.
So you're going all by yourself tomorrow?
No, I'm actually going with the rest of my family. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So it's just your dad and your sister that are going to be meeting you there a couple days later.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Do you ever watch the spelling bee every year?
Yeah. Before I got into it, and then I can just watch it like live there. I would watch on TV, and it was kind of fun to like see how they project on the TV, and they'll show you the word. But before they show you it, you can hear it, and it was always kind of fun to like see how like far you get by like trying to spell the words that they got.
Is there a language of origin that is harder with some languages than others?
Yeah, there are definitely some that if you don't ask for language of origin, it can easily go either way. And some you just kind of, some like the ias, like that would be a double L, you kind of forget about that. Although I think maybe like Dutch and German, because they have a lot of like things. And then German, the V sound is a W. And even though I know that, still like when you hear a V, you're going to want to spell V. So it always kind of trips me up and I have to like think twice about that.
In watching the spelling match that happened just recently here locally, did you get to watch that?
Oh, which one?
The one that ended up going so many rounds that they had to postpone it a couple of weeks. And
no, I didn't see that, but I did hear about it.
Was there anything of that intrigued you about how it all played out?
I thought it was kind of cool that these two they seemed to be very good. I didn't see the words they spelled, but I mean like that they could go that long. And although the final word didn't seem too hard, I mean I guess that's kind of what happens when you like run out a ton of words. And it was kind of cool that like they just like kept getting words right and like made it postpone it. It just kind of has some kind of like factor that kind of makes it interesting.
Last year, what was the word that stumped you?
In the National Spelling Bee, I had febrility, which is like a fever. Although I had thought it was a like dealing with like a defibrillator. Not exactly sure why in hindsight, and I asked for the definition. Although what I do is I spell the word on my hand during the definition if I know. And that one, I thought I knew it because I was like, oh, it's like a defibrillator. I don't even need to know the definition. So I spelled on my hand and kind of blocked out the definition. And part of the definition was febrile, which I probably could have taken some of that and maybe steered me on that way. Even if I didn't know what febrile meant, it has the F-E, like, clearly there. So I might have kind of derived that and put it in there.
Are there things that went on with last year's National Spelling Bee that you thought since then, I'm going to do this differently?
Yeah, definitely the first round, which is the computerized round. The way that whole thing is set up, now that I actually know what it's like, I was thinking it's something completely different of how to like go. So now that I know it's that like I kind of have figured out what I'm gonna do for that, and even just the first two rounds. After that, also the way it's run, it's split up so it takes less time. While you're actually on stage. So I kind of like that because you don't have to take a long time. But the way that's kind of run, now that I've like seen it firsthand, I'm gonna kind of know a bit more, and that'll help me, I think.
And the word that you got wrong last year, have you been able to figure it out now?
Yeah. Now because like the febrile, I've figured out how to spell it since.
Wow. Are there any languages of origin that just kind of make you wonder, even though it's pronounced one way, it's totally spelled a whole other?
Yeah, like German, as I said, like the V's and W's. But there aren't that many that like stick out to me right now. But there are just like some where it'll be like a single word from a language, and they'll just be like completely like I had one in the like the vocabulary and the spelling test. You can take like a practice test online, and like they have like the pronunciation of it to play for you. And so I spelled it like I'd heard it, and it was just completely wrong. I saw like the answers. So there's some that just like you think you got it some way, and then it just turns out to be like completely different, and you don't even know how you could like spell that or whatever.
So from comparing it to last year, this year when you go, will you be more apt to ask what the language of origin is and all the definitions and like that?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna kind of follow the same thing that I do with asking them the language of origin and the definition. But this time I'm gonna wait and ask for the definition and make sure like clearly listen to it, because that's what tripped me up last year. And then I'll spell the word on my hand, because I like to. It just kind of feels weird to be like wasting time like spelling on my hand right there when I'm not like asking for something. So usually I'll ask for the definition and then I'll spell it during that. So it's like kind of not like wasting time, but by learning that that's not a very good idea, I'm definitely not gonna do that this year.
Wow. Do you pick up any kind of things from the way other people are spelling?
Yeah. Sometimes like the way they'll kind of like dissect a word, like because you can ask for roots, you can be like, oh, does this come from the Latin root, whatever, and they'll either say yes or no. And the way they like pick it apart, I think that's definitely like a good style, as long as you don't take too much time with it, because you do have a time limit. And usually it wouldn't take too long if you can kind of like pick apart a word and just like going a bit farther than like breaking apart into chunks. But actually like breaking down those chunks, then that's I think a really good strategy, and I might kind of employ that just to see how it goes.
You were talking about a time limit. I didn't realize that there was is there an actual from the moment that they give you the word to the moment that you need to spell it?
Yeah, I believe that I think it changed last year. I believe it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and they have like a display monitor that you can see that like counts down your time. So and then also the lighting will change from like green to yellow to red. I think red is like 30 seconds left and yellow is a minute left. So even if you're not looking at the monitor and you're trying to like kind of focus on something else, there's like a ding and it'll change so you know that you're running out of time. And I like that they do that because otherwise you might just kind of lose track of time and then not get to spell the word, and then that would be kind of like the worst way to go.
Does it also work against you where you're kind of trying to concentrate on the word, and then it's like, oh my gosh, the time's running out, the time's running out?
Definitely, because sometimes you'll like, break your focus and you'll be like, oh man, I don't have much time left, I need to like figure this out, and you won't, and because of that you kind of panic, and you won't think of it a step further, and that'll come back to bite you, so.
From this whole experience, is there anything that you take away from it?
I take away, kind of just to have fun, like, it is a competition, but, I like that they give you the chance to socialize with other spellers. Like the Memorial Day barbecue I was talking about. They have like a bunch of games set up, like soccer and volleyball, and all these kind of opportunities to hang out with other spellers and make friends. And then also like a party and a banquet and a day in DC to hang out with them. So kind of take away, like, all those is kind of like this competition that's like a high level, just to really like enjoy yourself while doing it. Because I know some people like devote their entire like many days a week to like just spelling. Like overhearing people talking about it like on the buses to places. They were talking about how like on certain days, like Saturdays, they would just spell from like the moment they woke up to the moment they went to sleep with like a couple breaks in between. And I think that's kind of like overdoing it because just specifically the one person I heard doing that, she made it to the semifinals, but I don't think she did very far after that. So I think kind of like they're devoting so much time to it, and it's this big honor to win it. But like, I think you need to have like kind of like a balance of like having like social activities and then spelling it, and then just having fun. So that's what I've probably taken away the most from that.
Well, that's pretty cool. You were talking about how you form friendships. Have you been in communication with anybody that you met last year?
Not since I'm hoping to kind of meet up with some of them that like this year if they're still going. I haven't really heard about any of that, but I haven't like kept in touch with any of them.
Oh, wow. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about just the whole experience?
I don't know. It's just really an amazing experience to like go do this like and be on like ESPN, just like kind of see that like you've like made it to this opportunity, and just like this is like a really big thing. Like you've kind of just gone like to the next level, and it's just really amazing to like see that, and just I think that's just really cool.